If you've been watching your organic traffic slowly disappear while doing everything the SEO playbooks told you to do, this video is for you. I'm going to walk you through the new SEO landscape, from understanding why the old rules are breaking down, to using SEMrush's one most powerful tools to reclaim your visibility in an AI-first search world. By the end, you will know how to optimize for LLM citations, run a technical audit that flags the exact issues dragging your content out of AI-generated answers, and use keyword research to align your content with the way AI systems actually retrieve and reconstruct information. Let's get into it. Chapter 1. The invisible shift already underway. Let's start by discussing the behind-the-scenes upheaval quietly but radically altering the SEO landscape. For years, SEO meant one thing: rank on Google. Drive your search engine results page rankings as high as you can, ideally to page 1, capture as many clicks as possible, and push conversions. That is still critical, but it's only half the picture now, and a lot of marketers, even many SEO experts, are completely in the dark. AI-driven search is rapidly taking over the market, and it works in fundamentally different ways than traditional SEO. While there are many different layers to AI-driven search, and I've already addressed some of these in other videos, we're going to focus on one thing today: getting cited. When someone asks a question in ChatGPT, Perplexity, Gemini, or even Google's AI overviews, they receive a synthesized, confident, and fully formed answer. Behind the scenes, the large language model, LLM, generating that response quietly crawls dozens of sources, reads them, extracts key information, and reconstructs the answer in its own words. Now, the problem? Well, only about half of those crawled sources ever get cited, and the majority of those citations appear at the end of sentences as little icons. Let's be honest, nobody clicks on them. This means your content could be actively shaping what AI systems believe about your industry, contributing facts, framing, and context to answers read by thousands of people, and you would never know it or reap the benefits. There'll be no click, no attribution, and no extra traffic. This is the citation gap, and it's fast becoming one of the defining challenges of modern search marketing. So, why does the citation gap exist? Well, there are many reasons, but it comes down to how LLMs retrieve information. Rather than running a single search and pulling the top results, modern AI systems conduct fan art queries. Basically, LLMs take a user prompt and break it down into multiple related subqueries that form a cluster of related searches. This enables the AI to cast a wider net and, ideally, generate a complete, comprehensive answer. Now, the challenge is that LLMs consumes far more data than they acknowledge. Whether your content transitions from the invisible read pile to the cited pile depends on several factors: how closely your titles match the AI's core queries, how recent your content was written or updated, how clearly that content is structured, and whether your website's technical setup makes it easy for machines to parse. Now, that last point is especially important. A well-written article that lives behind a messy technical structure, bad schema, slowed load times, or weak internal linking is essentially useless to LLMs, even if human readers love it. The gap between great content and machine-readable content is where much of a brand's visibility is quietly being lost. High-quality machine-readable content alone isn't enough. How your brand is perceived by customers is arguably even more important. And LLMs measure that perception overwhelmingly in one place: Reddit. Research on how LLMs cite sources reveals that Reddit powers much of the background context in AI-generated answers. The latest data speaks for itself. A 2026 study by Ahrefs found that over 2/3, 67.8%, of non-cited URLs retrieved by LLMs were on Reddit. In other words, the conversations unfolding on Reddit about your brand, your industry, even your competitors are quietly shaping what AIs say. If you're not paying attention to what's happening on Reddit, you're not just missing out on community engagements. You're giving up control of your own story. SEO used to be one game. Now it's two. The classic stuff, authority, rankings, backlinks, technical health, isn't going anywhere. But running alongside it is a completely different set of questions. Can AI systems actually find your content? Do they understand what you're saying? And when they use it, do they bother to say so? The teams that are thriving today see both layers as equally important and treat them as separate crafts. They don't just track click-through rates anymore. They're also keeping a close eye on citation performance. And instead of waiting weeks to make improvements, they're moving fast, tightening up the optimization cycles to just days. That's why I'm glad SEMrush is sponsoring today's video. SEMrush 1 is built to help you succeed in this new reality. It combines the full traditional SEO toolkit with a dedicated AI visibility layer, meaning you don't have to stitch together 5 different tools to manage your SEO and AEO, AI Engine Optimization. To follow along with the rest of the video, use the link in the description to get 14 days of SEMrush 1 for free. Normally, the free trial ends after just 7 days. But because SEMrush is sponsoring this video, they've doubled that window for those who sign up through my link. In the rest of the video, I'll walk you through each core tool you'll need, starting with the one that anchors the rest, Keyword Research. Chapter 2, Keyword Research. Open SEMrush 1. Hover your cursor over SEO in the left sidebar and select Keyword Overview. Keywords are still the starting point for any content strategy, but how you approach them has changed now that AI plays a role in how people discover information. Type a seed keyword into the search bar, something broad that's central to your niche. For me, I'll use dentists. Start with just one keyword. We'll branch out from here. Hit search. The Keyword Overview tool highlights key keyword metrics, including search volume, keyword difficulty percents, and keyword ideas. This last section is great for building fan art queries, as you'll see the total number of keyword variations of your keyword. Mine is over 1.4 million, the most commonly asked questions related to your keyword, and a section highlighting potential keyword clusters. Let's switch to the next tool to get a closer look. Open the left sidebar, hover over SEO, and select Keyword Magic tool. What you'll get back is a detailed list of all 1.4 million related keywords clustered by topic and intents. We'll backtrack and cover everything in this table in greater detail shortly. For now, switch the view in the top left of the page from all to questions. Our prioritization of questions over simple keywords shouldn't be surprising. User prompts and the LLM fan art queries they naturally lead to are almost always phrased as questions. With the questions filter active, this tool allows you to see people's most commonly asked questions and build content that answers them in exactly the kind of structured, direct format that makes it easy for an LLM to parse and extract. Now that we've seen why you should focus on questions rather than simple keywords, let's look back at the table itself. Some of the data here was visible in the Keyword Overview tool, including volume, keyword difficulty, and cost per click for paid advertising. The 2 new data points are intent and SERP features, and both are essential for improving your AEO game. We'll start with intents. Put simply, this metric aims to identify why a searcher conducted their search. SEMrush categorizes keywords and questions across 4 intent types. Informational, users are looking for information to learn something. Navigational, users want to find a specific website or page. Commercial, users are researching products and services before buying. And transactional, users are ready to make a purchase or take an action that leads to a purchase. Informational and transactional intent keywords are where citation opportunities cluster most naturally. So prioritize those when you're building out an AI-first content plan. It's easy to do. Click where it says intent in the top left of the page. Check the boxes next to informational and transactional. Then hit apply. Now, you'll only be looking at questions with the right intents. Now, look at SERP features. This section highlights results on a SERP that go beyond traditional organic search listings, including AI overviews, featured snippets, popular product listings, and more. For AEO, we'll focus on AI overviews. Open Advanced Filters at the top of the page. Open the drop-down menu below SERP features, check the box next to AI overview, then click apply. Using the questions view and applying these 2 additional filters cuts straight to what matters to improve your AEO. Questions with informational or transactional intents that people are already asking AIs. Use the data in front of you to build a keyword list. All you have to do is check the box next to a question. Also, don't be afraid to use the Keyword Strategy Builder. You can open the tool directly from the sidebar. Hover over SEO and click Keyword Strategy Builder. You can search in 3 ways: by domain, by keyword, or manually. My advice, start with seed keywords before transitioning into domain-based searches. I'll switch to seed keyword-based, delete dentists, type what services do dentists offer instead, and click Create. It'll take a little bit for the tool to work its magic, so I'll see you soon. There we go. I'll zoom out a little bit so you can see what's going on. Across 10 broad clusters or pillars, SEMrush has identified 328 subpages. You can hover over any page or subpage to see a detailed breakdown. For example, I'll zoom back in and focus on the Preventative and Comprehensive Dental Services cluster. I'll hover over the subpage, Fluoride Treatment at Dentists, and it'll show me the keyword difficulty, volume, and related keywords. Scrolling down, I can take a more granular view, looking at each pillar page and its associated keywords to see the same information. From here, you can click Create Brief or Content to the right of each keyword to get started on your new blog post or article with SEMrush's help. As I've already stressed, however, you can have the best, most thoroughly researched content in your niche and still be almost completely hidden to LLMs if your site's technical infrastructure isn't configured properly. That's what the next tool we'll cover will help you avoid. Chapter 3. Site Audit. Ensuring your content is machine readable. In the left sidebar, hover over SEO and near the top, open Site Audit. Enter your website's root domain into the field. So instead of HTTPS, I'll enter just Vlasyev.com. Now, click Start SEO Audit. Let's set the parameters for our site audit. Keep the scope as it is. This ensures the tool scans every subdomain connected to your main domain. Next, decide how many pages you want to include. Free trial accounts get up to 100 pages, while paid plans allow for more. I'll stick with 100 pages for now. Since crawling is very resource intensive, scanning hundreds or thousands of pages will take hours. For a complete audit, set the crawler loose and let it run in the background. Overnight works well. Pages to crawl is the next setting, and while website is the correct choice here, don't stop there. After this video, rerun the audit targeting your robots.txt sitemap as well. That file is more important than most people realize. It's the main signal LLMs use to understand what they're allowed to access on your site, which directly shapes whether they can crawl, cite, and recommend your contents. I'll set schedule to once for now, but change it later. Running monthly audits is a great idea because any website's technical health erodes over time. Running an audit every month will give you a safety net. Don't hit Start Audit yet. Head to Crawler first. The user agent setting tells the crawler which bot to impersonate. There's no right answer, but in the future, I'd recommend running audits as Googlebot Mobile, Site Audit Bot Mobile, and OpenAI Search. Today, I'll stick with Site Audit Bot Mobile. Before I forget, toggle JS rendering on. This forces the bot to execute JavaScript and read your site the way a real visitor would. All right, we're ready. Click Start Audit. The crawler is underway, but as I said, this one is going to take a while. Don't be afraid to skip ahead to the last chapter, or pause the video and resume when your audit is complete. Once the audit is complete, click your project name. You'll land on the Overview dashboard. Don't get overwhelmed by the number of issues SEMrush flagged. This is normal. While there's a ton of info to process here, and you'll want to take the time to fix as many errors, warnings, and issues as you can, switch over to the Statistics tab. There's a box called Markup Types. See the schema.org errors, both microdata and JSON-LD? If a page has one of these errors, you're effectively invisible to LLMs. Click the % next to either error to view a list of pages detected in your site audit with these errors, and use Claude Code or another tool to resolve these issues. The next thing I want you to check is the internal linking report. Go back to Overview, and at the bottom of the page, hit View Details under Internal Linking. Here, look specifically for broken internal links under Errors and orphan sitemap pages under Notices. Why the focus on internal linking? Well, internal links are how crawlers, AI or otherwise, understand how your site fits together. A page with no links pointing to it is effectively invisible. It exists, but without understanding how that page fits into the context of your site, LLMs won't regard it as authoritative. In plain English, that means pages without internal links pointing to them cannot be found by fan-out queries. Focus on resolving these issues to the best of your ability. Click Learn More next to each to see how to fix the problem. The final category is crawlability and indexability. Open the Compare Crawls tab. If you only have one site audit, that's okay. I want you to look for the following issues: 5xx errors, 4xx errors, duplicate content, broken internal links, and invalid robots.txt format. All these issues are potential barriers stopping AI crawlers from reaching your content. To try to solve these issues, click on the blue text. I'll click on 4xx errors. You'll see the broken page and can get to work. When you have your biggest issue addressed, you're ready to stop guessing and start measuring. Hover over AI and the sidebar and open Visibility Overview. Chapter 4. AI Visibility Reports. What Google Analytics doesn't show you. A significant challenge with AEO is tracking progress. In traditional SEO, Google Search Console provides data on queries, click-through rates, and impression trends. While not perfect, this free tool offers valuable insights. AI gives you nothing. When ChatGPT or Perplexity cites your content, it doesn't show up anywhere. It either happened or it didn't, and you have no way of knowing which. And that's where AI visibility reports come in. Instead of searching for my website, I'll search for SEMrush. I'll be entering the root domain semrush.com, then hit enter. Think of Visibility Overview as your AI report card. The headline metric, AI visibility, is a composite score tracking how often your brand appears in AI-generated answers. If the number is rough, don't sweat. Most of your competitors aren't measuring this at all, which means you're already above the curve. The next window tracks mentions and citations separately, a distinction that matters, plus which specific pages are getting cited. You can view each category by clicking the number beneath it. For example, I'll click on 98.8K below citations. That will take me to the bottom of the page where it will show me the top performing prompts I'm already cited for. We'll return to this section soon. Jump back up to the top of the page and look below AI visibility. Distribution by LLM shows you how your visibility breaks down across ChatGPT, AI Overview, Google's AI Mode, and Gemini. Scroll back down to topics and sources. This is SEMrush's AI version of keyword research. Here you can see topics you're already ranking for, topics where your brand is not mentioned but SEMrush identified competitors are, what sources are being cited in AI-generated answers for these topics, sources where your brand is not cited by SEMrush identified competitors, and the pages on your website that are currently being cited in AI answers. Between these categories, you can browse by topics or by prompts. I strongly recommend browsing by prompts to get as close to the end user as possible. I mentioned your competitors. For a more in-depth look at how you stack up against them, go to the Perception tool. Hover over AI and select it. While the competitor research tool works as well, I prefer Perception. You know the drill. Enter your root domain into the field and hit Analyze. Since I've already generated a record on SEMrush, I'll click to view it. Insights is where you will get some AI-generated recommendations to improve your overall AEO. But look at the next stat. Competitive perception by platform. Toggle all of the LLMs on. Here you will see how Google AI Mode, ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Gemini perceive your brand and your top competitors. As you can see, SEMrush seems to have every competitor beaten on every LLM, except one. SE ranking outperforms SEMrush on Gemini and in Google AI Mode. Moving down, you will see overall sentiments, which tells you something no other metric does. How LLMs are actually characterizing your brand. Track this metric carefully. A slide here means something has changed, and catching it early is critical. Remember, LLMs use Reddit as their top source for gauging perception, so get proactive. Reply to both positive and negative feedback, and engage with your community frequently and often. Scrolling down, take a look at key sentiment drivers. On the right, you'll see what your brand does well, according to AI and Reddit, and where you need some improvements. Also, look to the right of each category. See the chat icon? Click it. This is where you can read the actual user prompt and the AI-generated answer your brand appeared in, which will tell you a lot more than a number, or in this case, a multicolored bar ever could. You're also able to switch between generic AI answers or look specifically at answers that mention your brand by using the filter at the top of this window. Lastly, let's take a look at the mentions by feature category. This chart shows how often your brand is mentioned across specific search categories compared to the competition. Again, even though SEMrush is winning, and winning big, this data is still invaluable. Once more, you can look up each user prompt and AI-generated answer for each category by clicking the chat icon to the right. I've barely scratched the surface here, but unfortunately, that's all we have time for today. To recap, SEMrush 1 gives you the toolset to compete on both tracks simultaneously. Keyword research to align your content with how AI systems think, site audit to make sure your infrastructure doesn't get in the way, and the many AI visibility reports to see how often your brand appears in AI answers, and how you're being perceived. I'm curious, which part of the AO landscape surprised you most? Has your traffic already shifted in ways you can't fully explain? Do you think you'll be spending more time on Reddit? Let me know down in the comments. Also, don't forget to click the link in the description to get started with SEMrush 1 and activate your exclusive 2-week free trial. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was helpful, and I'll see you in the next video.